It's Vicky, me love Bono, and I is back again, this time with some single page layouts. When I first started on YouTube, I didn't do single page layouts. I ended up chatting and getting friendly with Patty, who is Colored Sprinkle Girl, and we decided to do a challenge between us. She had to do a double page layout, and I had to do a single page layout, and I just loved it. And ever since, you'll see a lot more single page layouts for my albums. Anyway, this cardstock is from Die Cuts with a View, one of those solid colored cardstock paper stacks. That's a mouthful. Very simple layout. And you know, I've looked at a couple of layouts similar to this or using this approach on Pinterest and 2 Peas in a Bucket and scrapbook.com. I didn't see anything exactly like this, but you know, they added to my inspiration, certainly. Anyway, that's the cardstock. This font is Thicker's Poolside, and it has a funny name like Green, or you know, Green Beauty, or I forget. You know how they are, they give colors funny names, but it's green. And I really love this. If you've never used Poolside, it's almost a leathery or vinyl-ish finish. And it's very flexible. I definitely had to use extra adhesive to get it to stick on my layout. But it kind of curls up in a cute way, so I just went with it. This is a tree my husband planted about 3 years ago, and we planted it at the beginning of one spring, and of course it didn't bloom that year. It was supposed to bloom the next year, and it didn't. And we're thinking, oh brother, we got ripped off. But the third season it bloomed, and it was beautiful. Well, it's beautiful now, but this is the first time it bloomed. And this says springtime in the name of our hometown, and I hate to ever cover up anything on my layouts, but I figured I better cover up our neighborhood. Not that everybody doesn't know it, but these little flowers I cut using my Cricut, and I'm trying to think what cartridge I used. Gosh, guys, I cannot remember to save my life. You know, the good thing is, if you have Cricut cartridges, there's several, so many different cartridges that have the little blooms like this. And I cut these out at 1 1/4 inch height and width. That's on real size. I used my gypsy. Inside is stickles, and that's about it. I took these flowers once I cut them out, and that's a flat, plain, no texture, basil cardstock. I picked that stuff up at HSN a year or so ago, and I got like 50 sheets for $19.99. Last time I was checking, they still had that, but that was about 3 or 4 months ago. But it's a good deal for a flat, white, stiff cardstock. Anyway, I cut it out, and then I laid that flat flower on my mouse pad, and I took my paper piercer and just stuck down on it like this and twisted it so it would curl up the edges. Now, I've watched some videos where they will take their embossing tool, that thing like this with a ball at the end, and go around it like this, and that heat and that pressure will make your flowers turn up. But this cardstock was so heavy, I had to end up using, let me show you, my paper piercer, this thing. And see the end of it? I would just take this, the flowers laying on my paper pad, and I would push down and then give it a little twist. And that worked fine. Bad thing is, when I put it in a scrapbook album, it's probably gonna flatten out quite a bit. Let me zoom in. And that's the front of our house. I'll tell you, my husband has a green thumb. I can water stuff, and I can definitely mix up a good batch of Miracle-Gro, which I love, but he is the planting man around here. Sometimes, I tell you, our plants and our annuals, our perennials, our trees, if I even look at them, they'll die. I do not have a green thumb, but if he gets them in and he gets them rooted, then I can kind of mess with them a little bit sometimes. Anyway, he did a great job on that tree. Okay, now this was simple, dimple, pimple, easy to do. And I'll tell you what, I wanted to scrap this picture. I got just a kick out of this photo. That's why I enlarged it. But I just didn't know what to do with embellishments and so forth. And, you know, I mentioned this in one of my other videos. Sometimes it has to be okay if you look at a photograph and you want to scrapbook it, but you're really struggling to decide what embellishments to use. What cardstock, how to use your cardstock. Do you use 2 pattern and 1 plain paper? Do you use chevron or clouds? What do you do? And I think if you look at that photo and you look at your products and supplies, and at some point you just feel like you're starting to put too much time into that process, either put that picture and that project aside for a while and come back to it, or get it documented, get it in your books, and do something simple. This is definitely one of those simple times. Now, this was, again, if you watched my other video with my double page layouts, this picture came from that same day of events where I and myself, me, myself, and I, me and Irene, me, my husband, and Nadie all spent the day together. It was just a nice day. We worked a little bit around the yard. We swam a little bit. We ate. We played. It was just a good day. I don't even think I realized how good the day was on that day, but looking back at the photos, I was thinking, what a good day. I wanted to get this picture documented and definitely in my albums, and I just couldn't figure out what to use, so I did easy. And all I did, I made little thought bubbles. I looked at his face and I was like, what is he saying? What is he thinking? Now, I've got a couple of pictures with him doing this, and I was sitting there at the patio furniture, and him and I were talking, and he stuck his head through there, and, you know, we laughed about it, and we laughed because he could get his head back out, but he's awful at sticking his head through stuff like that since he's been a baby. And I did, you know, scold him, you can't do that, one of these days you're going to get stuck, blah, blah, blah. But then I said, do this, do that, while I take a picture of you. So what kind of disciplinary person am I, right? Anyway, I looked at his picture and I was like, it looks like he's thinking, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But I changed that up a little bit and I put, what was that about lemons and lemonade? This is, I forget, it is definitely Thickers, but I forget the font name. Chit Chat? Roller Rink. It's one of the much older fonts. This is either Remarks, Giggles, or Delight, because all 3 of those fonts are very small like this. The background is October Afternoon Cakewalk. These little alphas are from Stickos, and they just come in a small package, and I picked those up at Michael's. Whatever this is from, this is from. I just cut these out using my Fisker Cloud Punch. The chevron paper is also from October Afternoon Cakewalk, and I just journaled right in here. I made myself stay inside that little box, and it reads, Nate Dane in August of 2011. Dad went to a concert, and we, Paw, Mama, and Nate, just had a good time hanging in the backyard. Now, even though I journaled on my double page layouts, the same thing, you never know if maybe down the line, when you're not there to control it anymore, that somebody may lose a layout, or they may change around the way the layouts are in my album, because I will put this with those other layouts from the same day. But you never know. If it gets switched around, then you're going to be saying, when was this? What year was it? So I always try to at least put a year on my layout. Every layout, even if they're going into a themed album. And I try to at least journal a little something. That journaling, not as much as the date. Now, let me zoom in. Not that there's much to see here. You'll see I outlined my clouds. Gosh, guys, I miss these days so bad. He's just changed so much in the past year. You know, he went from 5 to 6 years old. He turned 6 in August, and now he's in school. And I was just telling my husband, I wish I could back time up just by a few years, because 2 simple years ago, I was this kid's world. He adored me. He would run in and say, Momo, and it was genuine. One time, my son went to pick him up from his mother's because they have shared parenting. And on the way back here, they actually stopped at Friends. And they were there for 2-3 hours. And normally, my son would go pick up Nate and come back here and we'd have dinner. But on this particular day, they decided to stop over at Friends. Now, the Friends have a little girl that he loves to play with. You've probably seen her in some of my layouts. Miley, my adopted pretend granddaughter. He loves playing with Miley. But my son said, after a couple hours, he came over and said, Dad, I'm ready to go home. And my son said, You are, buddy? Why you want to go home? And Nate said, It's time for me to see my mama. I miss her. Oh my gosh, I got tears in my eyes. I'm not kidding you. I'm ready to cry right now. Now, he's 6 years old, and he comes in the doorway, he comes in the back door, he flies by me, he barely waves at me. And then I'll go, Hey, what about me? And he's like, Oh, hi, Mama. And he runs off, and why can't they stay little? And I said to my husband just an hour ago, I don't care. He said, Well, they're growing up. Listen, can't they grow up? And maybe he can't sit on my lap when he's 22 years old, but can he come and sit next to me and say, You know what? I didn't stop at the store, and I dumped my girlfriend because I couldn't go out with her tonight because I wanted to come see you, Mama. Can that happen? In my dreams. Anyway, I just really miss these days. And I was looking at that particular day and how it seems like yesterday, but then again, it seems like a million years ago. Anyway, this is my buddy, and I sure do love him. And here is another 12 by 12 layout. This cardstock is by Basil, and it's like a navy blue, but of course you know they got some kind of name for it, like kumquat blue or blue skies over Peru. They never just say navy blue anymore. Anyway, Basil picked it up at scrapbook.com. This white background is Basil Avalanche. It's a very nice textured and pretty sturdy cardstock. I used my Martha Stewart border punch, top and bottom. This is from Miss Caroline Collection by My Mind's Eye. This and that is from American Crafts Shoreline Collection. That is right up there in my top 10 favorite collections of all times, guys. I almost didn't buy that collection, but I am so glad I did. And look, I mean, this is just a perfect match to the ocean. And look at the navy blue and yellow. Just beautiful. You know, it's never too late to pick it up, and you don't have to have beachy pictures to use the Shoreline Collection. I was going to say something. Have you ever noticed there is just not a lot of paper collections with navy blue in it? Why is that? I heard Shamel Lane talk about this, and I don't know if she said this or somebody else did, but I've heard it is more expensive and more difficult to blend the color navy blue for paper. I don't know. It's what I heard, just passing it on. It could be a rumor, it could be gossip or a lie, but I love navy blue. These letters are from Alpha Beans by Lily Bean. This is a rub-on from Miss Letty, who is Miss Chica's one. Hi, Letty. Thank you. I am using up my racks and enjoying them. Twine. I think that's from Doodle Bop. And this little sticker and that little sticker and this little sticker too are all from the Remarks sticker pack by American Crafts for the Shoreline Collection. Those little hearts I just punched out using this, which is one of the best purchases I ever made. It's a Recollections punch from Michael's. I thought it was in the dollar bin, but it's not. It's over by their punches, and it's like $2.99 or $3.99, but well worth it. And I just cut out some of these from the scraps and put it up there. These are also Alpha Beans, and it's the navy blue color. I think it's called like Dirty Denim or something. I matted my picture on navy blue cardstock. I was sitting here looking at this layout once it was finished and thinking, is there anything else I could do to it? Is there something else I should do to it? And I was looking at this picture and I was like, let's see, 1982, 1992, 2002, and I thought, gosh, that was 20 years ago. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is me before I had my son, and he's 29. And then I thought, oh my gosh, this is 30 years ago. 30 years and 4 months ago. Wow. I just couldn't believe that. But we were on Clearwater Beach, right before you enter the busy area, and oh gosh, I wish you guys could see Clearwater Beach 30 years ago and Clearwater Beach now. It is so totally different. But there used to be this great hotel that we would go over to, and we really enjoyed, because we lived in Florida for a while after my son was born, and we went to Florida frequently as I was growing up because we have relatives there. But we were standing behind the Clearwater Beach Holiday Inn, but it was right next door to our favorite hotel, which was called the Lagoon, and that's been gone a very long time. But I remember that day like it was yesterday. So I think that explains everything. Let me zoom in. And there you go, guys. There's my last 12 by 12 to share with you now. But I'll be back because I just found out Nicole, who is Scrapology here on YouTube, is having a layout challenge. I'll leave some information in the down box, and I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you guys so much for watching and commenting and subscribing. And listen, I'm running a little behind in answering my PMs and my comments, but I plan on doing that today and tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, so if I haven't commented or gotten back to you on PMs, I will get back to you within the next day or two. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.